Hello everyone. This video is intended to be a brief demonstration of Pelikan's newest model, the M605 Tortoiseshell-Black. This model is very unique in that it's the first tortoiseshell to come out with silver colored trim. Here you can see the palladium plating that turns this trim silver. It is otherwise fairly standard in terms of Souveron furniture. You have all the usual features, the double trim rings at the piston knob, the double cap bands, the Pelikan's beak clip, the palladium plated cap top featuring the company's single chick logo. All the resin, it's black resin piston knob, black resin cap, black resin section. Where this pen really stands out is the barrel, and that barrel is made of these pearlescent stripes that, to my eye, tends towards a bluish gray, with areas a little brighter and areas a little duller and muddier, if you will. Now, as I rotate the pen, you will see there are these areas of striped sections that are just more towards black and lack that coloration. I think that'll vary from pen to pen. It's just an inherent nature of the material. It can be jarring if there's too much of it. There's like 4 or 5 bands of it on my pen. It is a little, disconcerting, but, it is what it is, part of the material. If that bothers you, though, you should take note of that. Overall, it is a very unique finish, much cooler than we're used to. If you compare this with other tortoises that we've seen in the M600 line, we'll just focus on post-97 models. Here's a very rare tortoiseshell brown from 1999. You don't see a lot of these mythical creatures, but obviously that's your standard brown tortoise. And next we were given the tortoiseshell white, also a very different look with the greens and the browns, a much brighter, coloration than we're getting with the tortoiseshell black. And then finally, the newest kid on the block prior to the Tortoiseshell Black was the Tortoiseshell Red, which became one of my favorites, just because of the unique coloration of it with the oranges and the reds. So overall, a very different feel for this new tortoiseshell. And, like it or love it, it really comes down to your sense of aesthetics. Do you like the cooler tones? Do you like the warmer tones? I think this one will be well received by the community. In between these pearlescent stripes, you have these black, smaller striped areas, just kind of break it up. If you compare that to the typical, here's an M605 Stresemann, those stripes tend to be smaller than what we're seeing on the Tortoiseshell Black, but they're not at all, intrusive or anything. One thing you can see on the Stresemann a little bit is that, those stripes are translucent, as of the time of this production. There is no translucency with these stripes at all with the Tortoiseshell Black. There's no dedicated ink view and really no good way to view the remaining ink in the pen. There's if you hold it up to a strong light like an iPhone, you can kind of see through it and kind of gauge the ink level. It's not perfect, it's doable. I find it to be a real subpar, solution to the situation. And so people who prefer ink view windows, you're going to be disappointed by the lack of it in this one. But that's no different than what we saw with the Tortoiseshell Red and some of the other newer models that have come out. It just tends to be the way Pelikan is skewing these days. One thing I will say is that, the pearlescence of these stripes kind of gives that Raiden type feel. I'll pull out a Raiden Royal Platinum here. This is an M605 Raiden Royal Platinum. You can see, hopefully that effect I'm trying to convey with the pearlescence there and then the shine, obviously achieved in different ways, but, it has that kind of feel to it. But obviously a Raiden model is a rather expensive pen because of its, special nature. This is more of your standard fare with the celluloid. So ultimately, if you like that Raiden look, this doesn't, do a bad job of kind of imparting some of that, and, certainly at a much more affordable price. Here's a look at the nib, which is your typical 14-karat nib. That's all rhodium plated to go along with that silver finish, and it blends in nicely with the rest of the pen. So overall, no major detractors here. It really just comes down to a sense of taste and style, and how much you may be bothered by the lack of an ink view. The pen is easily maintained. The nib easily screws out. The piston travels smoothly. The piston is not user removable, but nor is there really any need to do so. So overall, it's a quality product that you could certainly do a lot worse. So that's just been a brief look at Pelikan's M605 Tortoiseshell Black.